Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse, the Thursday, January 23rd edition of the Pulse. I'm losing track of days and dates already. I just had to look on my little screen there to figure it out. But we're thankful for having you join us here in the WellPoint studios. Thankful that our guest for today is here in the WellPoint studios, resplendent in his purple shirt over there. Matches the tie the president wore to the inauguration the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He wore. I guess he wore a purple tie.
Oh, nice. Well, would that clash, or is that monochrome?
It would clash with you. You'd have to wear a white tie to get that purple and white look.
You realize my wife picks my clothes out.
Yeah, because you're colorblind. We know.
I know. Yeah, and I can't match. So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you joined us today. We're here to talk about a couple of things. First of all, a big topic of discussion, and Governor Healy put a proposal in her budget, which she just released this week, about renter brokers fees. We want to talk a little bit about that with you, the state of the real estate market, of course, based on your expertise. And then we're going to delve off into your second area of expertise, politics.
Ooh,
as a former school committee man and a political pundit, we're excited to have you here. First, let me quickly thank our sponsors here. The sponsor of the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse, none other than, do that again.
This guy,
Real Estate, Ray Boutin, sponsor of the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse. Ray, of course, is a licensed realtor in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. He's a certified appraiser in both states as well. So if you're looking to buy or sell a residential property, a commercial property, Real Estate Ray Boutin is your man. realestaterayBoutin.com is the web address. Find out more, get in touch with him. Stat will give you the phone number in the famous Ray Boutin broadcast voice. Also want to thank our friends at WellPoint. We're coming to you from the WellPoint studios here in downtown Lowell. WellPoint is the only health plan offering health care benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. We thank Ray, we thank WellPoint. We've got a bunch of other sponsors to thank as well, but I want to delve right into the discussion here, Ray. All right, Governor Healy's office felt the need to put out a press release last week before the budget, announcing that in the budget they would address renter paid brokers fees. And that was a hot button issue for a couple of weeks as well. First of all, what is a renter paid brokers fee for the uninitiated, which prior to a week and a half ago, I was one of them, to be honest with you.
So the renters have to pay a fee for their agent to work with their agent, much like the recent change that we had in our commission structure for being a real estate agent, paying your buyer agent a commission, that it's the buyer's responsibility. Well, it's the renter's responsibility to pay if they want to hire an agent. And in the past, it was usually given 1 month of rent was split, sometimes 50-50, 60-40, between the rental agent that's renting the property and the agent that brings the renter. Much like a listing agent, much like a buyer agent. Because the inventory is so tough right now, many agents like myself won't offer anything to a renter having an agent, and they would have to pay their agent on their own. So it has to be offered first. So for her to do this, really who's going to suffer are the inexperienced renters that don't know any better, that may sign a contract that they don't fully understand and don't have somebody working in their best interest. To say that the landlord is going to absorb the fees isn't going to happen. They're just going to raise the rents.
We'll talk about that. I want to pause right here for a second, though. So most people going out there renting an apartment, they just looking. They're looking at the listings wherever the hell you look nowadays, right? It used to be in the newspaper and Craigslist, wherever. Now you look on social media, you say, oh, I would like to live there. Yeah. Give a perfect example. My buddy over at TMI Properties, right? Sure. Ton of great offerings. I'm going to go contact them. Are they having to pay a broker's fee?
No. Unless that's part of the agreement that the renter has with them. So most people are just going right to, they see the advertisement, the apartments.com is one that's becoming more and more popular. People are getting away from Craigslist because of the scams, and I'll caution people that I've sold vacant houses and they take my pictures from the listing and they add them in and they say, hey, this house is for sale. I mean, for rent. And it's not. So they're going to places like TMI. They have an office, and it's important that the renters see that. But they're not paying a fee, and if there's any fee, they're not paying the renter if they have somebody.
Okay, so this isn't the case. Now, some people choose to try to find an apartment to live in by hiring a real estate agent.
Yes, they
like
do.
Are these the folks that are getting charged the renter paid?
Yes,
brokerage?
they're coming up with first, last security, and they're coming up with either a month or a half month or some sort of fee to pay the agent that's helping them.
So, and in this case, how are you helping that person? How does it advantage somebody to have a real estate agent looking for an apartment for them rather than going out and doing it on their own? Is there a benefit to that?
So understand, it's just like buying a house. You're moving into this area and you say, I'd like to live in Lowell. Where am I going to rent? And I show them different neighborhoods and I say, well, this neighborhood is over here. You're going to be closer to the highway. You're going to have access to the train station that you may want. Parks may be important to you. What is important to you as somebody coming into this area? I'm going to look at the contract and make sure that everything is legal, that the penalties aren't there, that they're not asking for 5 months prepaid rent because that's illegal in Massachusetts, that if there's water that you're being charged for, there's a separate water meter and not a common meter, and they're saying, okay, we have 5 units, everybody pays 20%. That's not allowed. Who's going to be taking care of the property? Are you responsible for shoveling? Are you going to get parking with that? So there's all these different things that me as an agent, in a ton more, that I'm going to look through the contract and say, wait a minute, this isn't right. So you're providing a skilled service, an expert service, much as you are when somebody's wanting to buy or sell a home. If I'm looking to buy a house, I could theoretically go out without a real estate agent and try to do it on my own, right? Right.
So you're providing a service.
Yes.
All right. You should pay for that. Your client should pay for that.
Sure.
Is what the governor is proposing and what others are pushing for, does that eliminate that?
Yes. In the understand.
So then you would never take on such a client.
I wouldn't.
Why would you? You'd get out of
don't even
business
now.
completely,
It's
right?
not worth it for me now, even getting a small part of a half a month's rent or a quarter of the month's rent. It's not worth it for the amount of time involved. But think about what's going to happen in 3 or 5 years if we have a little slowdown, or 6 or 7 years. Not when they make these laws, they're knee-jerk reactions sometimes to what is going to happen in the future. In 4 years from now, if there is a bunch of inventory that's available, people are moving out of the area, they create all this new housing, and somebody does want to use an agent, they're not able to, they're going to have to, they can't pay for that agent. If somebody comes in with specifics that they want and they don't know any better, they want to hire a professional, they can't hire that person. They have to wait for the landlord to say, yes, I'll pay you. And most landlords are going to say, no, I'm not going to pay you. I'm not offering that. And they're going to take the tenant that comes in with the application that is not asking for these fees to be paid by the landlord. It's money to the landlord. I mean, landlords will change waste, garbage companies if it saves them $15 a month. You think they're going to spend out $1,000, $2,000 on something they don't have to? They won't. And this hurts people that would like to have that negotiated in. If I work with somebody that's a rental and I say, look, we're going to negotiate in that I'm going to get half a month's rent from the landlord, that's a contract that you have. If not, you're going to have to pay it if you really love the place. So they turn out they really love the place, they can't get it because the landlord won't pay it. That's not fair to the consumer.
Okay.
It hurts the consumer.
So are there examples where the landlord, the property owner, is charging the renter a broker's fee even if they're not using a real estate agent?
No.
That's not.
No,
So that's not
I haven't seen that. I don't think that part is legal because you have to do first, last, and security, and you can do a key deposit. That's it. You can't even do a pet cleaning deposit. Most landlords will charge extra for a pet, but you can't charge a separate pet cleaning fee or a pet fee for you.
So, so now it makes even less sense to me. And what I was thinking of is ultimately what's the catch? When government says they're going to start to get involved in the free market, my antenna go up, because very rarely does it end up a positive for the consumer, even though that's the way it's billed. We're protecting the consumer, and ultimately the consumer gets it tucked to them and they start paying more. This sounds almost like a solution
to a problem that wasn't there.
A problem, yeah. So if the landlord isn't charging a renter's fee to the renter who's going about it on their own, well, what's the problem? Now, if it is happening, I can see making a case for stopping that. But if they're going to stop the fact that I decide of my own free will to hire you to go get me an apartment because I don't want to deal with the hassle of searching every day for whatever the reason, or I trust that you navigate the waters better than I do, and you can protect me with what you said. You look for things in the leases. That's a service. You deserve to be paid for that, and who should pay it? The person using the service, right? Isn't that
exactly?
Isn't this capitalism?
But understand, this is a focus to people that can't afford housing right now. Understand, this is going to affect the whole market. If somebody wants to rent a high-end unit for 6 months, they can't hire a buyer agent to take them out and do that. They can no longer pay them. They're saying that I can't, as an agent, find them a beachfront property for May, June, July, and August up at Seabrook that somebody's going to pay $25,000 or $30,000 a month. They can't pay me. How? Well, Seabrook, I guess I'm in New Hampshire. I can. I guess Salisbury, I might not be bringing people there. But so you're doing something for people that are on a lower end, and it's in search of a problem that wasn't there.
All right. Now, there are management companies that manage apartments. Are they the ones that are they getting renters fees on both sides? They're obviously getting a cut from the landlord whose property they're managing. Are they the ones collecting a broker's fee as well?
They're not. So the management companies aren't offering or giving a broker's fee. So your large companies that have staff that works for them. So they're putting it out there. They're having people come in and they're saying, I here's my application, but I want you to pay my fee to my agent. The management company is going to say, we don't pay those fees. That's not on us. So if there's a fee there, if you accept that person, great. Now you're stuck paying this agent their fee, but they're going to look at the other applications, the 8 other, 10 other, 20 other applications and say, I don't have to make that fee. And there's nothing in the law that says you have to, that I know of, that you can't discriminate on that. That's not one of the discrimination things. So they're going to pick a different applicant, and then that person loses out. And that person's not allowed to pay their agent. It just doesn't make sense. So the mom and pop who want to put out there, they own a 3-family, they've got a unit for rent, they hire a real estate agent to put it out there and say, we're going to offer this, and we're not offering a rental fee. They lose out. The bigger companies, they have people working in there. They're not paying out the fees.
Isn't that usually the way the
headline
guy
looks
is
great?
The one that gets hit.
Headline looks great. Read the next 2 paragraphs and you go, wait a minute. Yeah. It's going to hurt people.
Of course. What's the overall state of the housing market? Speaking of that, both for the rental market and also the homeowners market here, still a seller's market on both ends.
If you're an owner,
it's been for about a decade now that we're going.
If you're an owner, it's great for you.
Still,
I have some numbers here in Lowell, for example. Year-over-year sales, you're up 8.4%. The median price in Lowell now is $515.
All right. So nationally, those numbers are not anywhere near that, right?
No, but in Massachusetts
is still a hot place.
You're up 6.1. 6.1% for single-family houses. You've gone up year over year.
All right. Even with all these people supposedly packing up and leaving the state, as various studies have shown.
Florida.
Too many people are coming in that of lesser means, basically.
Yeah, they're at the hospitals. They're having babies. They're having families. They're the kids that graduate high school. They go on and form. They get a friend, a roommate. They get married. People that graduate college, they're staying here. Even though we have people leaving the state at a higher level, we're still growing. We still have limited inventory. Since the last crash of 2008, 2008, we haven't grown our housing stock by 3%. We're 15, 16, 17 years out. What would that be? 51% increase in housing at 3% growth? We haven't done that in New England. I typically focus on Mass and New Hampshire. We haven't done that. So we're not keeping up. So that's why the prices keep going up.
What about hyper locally here in Lowell? We hear about all these projects. If you look at Upper Merrimack Street, is that considered upper, or is upper up by the auditorium? I get confused. Merrimack Street heading out towards the university, away from downtown towards the university, even Market Street. We hear about all these projects. The old Jeanne d'Arc, the CBA, CBA properties are going up everywhere. Is that easing the crunch at all?
What do we have? 25 25,000 units, housing units, is it? I don't know if it's
Is that the
single-family
number at
buildings.
Lowell?
I think it's something like that. We have 115, 120,000 people.
So 25,000, that counts rental properties?
I think that's units,
okay.
if I'm right, not just buildings, but housing units.
Okay.
And just for example, if you have 25,000, which would make sense, 4 per household or however you do it, at 25,000, 3% every year is 750 units. We're not building 750 units every year since 2008 when the crash happened.
Yeah, the last year, 2 years, we may be on a
We
right
might be
trajectory,
catching up, but we haven't. We might be going in a positive trend, but not doing that. So, and then multiply that by when I was doing mostly appraisals back in the early 2000s, from Route 3 in Burlington to 93 in Wilmington, all the way up to Tilton in Lake Winnipesaukee, within 10 miles of the highway, either way, going gangbusters. They'd have 50 lot subdivision would be small, 200, 300, 400 lot subdivisions that they would be building. Then the builders got crushed in 2007, 2008, and they said, I'm going to do 10 lots, and I'll do another 10 lots. And then the cost of materials went up. So you can't build a $450,000 bunch of ranches because they got to be $600,000-700,000 now. So,
and then you had to put in electric stoves as opposed to gas stoves.
oh
if you were
boy,
getting
that
any
is
public
really
funds.
hurting.
All these regulations started to drive up the cost.
Yeah, the HERS rating, which is the once you go into fossil fuels, 3 lots that I know in Lowell recently, they were going to put multifamilies on it, and it didn't make sense because of they not being able to use fossil fuels. So that's a consideration. It's coming home to roost. Like, people didn't pay attention, like, oh, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. It's not. It's hurting our housing stock. And we keep talking about homelessness and, the 2 stages of homelessness. Those who want to be homeless and those who want to not be homeless, getting them an apartment is incredibly difficult.
All right. So now the market conditions you've described, more than ever right now, having a real estate agent who knows what he or she is doing, it's invaluable. I'll vouch for that, everyone. It's no secret by this point. You helped my wife and I found our home in 2018. I call it my forever home because I tell her that the next time I move, I'm in the back of a hearse. Yeah. That's the only time I'm moving. She can do whatever she wants after I'm gone, provided she outlives me. But anyway, that's another story. But
I'll take the odds.
And you've got now 30 plus years, 33 decades of experience buying, selling homes, commercial properties. How do folks take advantage of your expertise, of your service, shall I say?
Call me. My cell phone, Ray Boutin. I'm at 978-502-8352. Ray Boutin.
Listen to that. Listen to how the inflection
502-8352. Or visit my website, and I thank Teddy for this, realestaterayBoutin.com. You get a hold of me. I'm no obligation. I seriously help people, consult with them, work with them at no obligation. You may be better off staying in your house. And I will tell you that if it works better for you. I may suggest a reverse mortgage to you. I may suggest an equity line, or maybe it is best that you sell the house and where you can go. So it's free. You call me. There can be no obligation. You don't have to use me.
And it may sound like I'm blowing smoke, and I kind of am, but this guy won't abandon you afterwards. He's got a big pickup truck.
Yeah.
And the pickup truck can be used to go get a snowblower where the wheels are locked.
Yes.
The pickup truck can be used to take your screens to be repaired. It's been used, and I know you've offered that to. It wasn't just, you're not doing me any favors, which hurts me, Ray. I thought you were doing me a favor.
You're special.
You offer that. That's what my mom.
But you're not just the only special person.
Yeah, every one of your clients is special. So and all these years later, you must be getting sick of my texts. What's the name of that landscaper again, or what's the name of that tree service again? And
I just go through this text and I read, copy, and paste, and send it back to you.
But that's why it's important to have a real estate agent. And I know some folks try to cheap out and say, yeah, you know what, I'm going to keep that 3, 4, 5, whatever percentage it is for myself. Good luck in a competitive market. And good luck when you sign something that when the poop hits the fan, I can say shit on this air. When the shit hits the fan, you could have been warned.
You're screwed.
You could have been warned in a home inspection.
Absolutely.
Or other ways.
Or a home warranty. You don't want to do an inspection, $500, you can get a home warranty, which can help you. So, yeah, there's a lot of different things we can offer. I'm lucky. I love my job. I don't know if you ever heard Paul Harvey. he used to have an expression, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
And
truth.
I will keep doing this. I hit Powerball. I'd have to play first, but if I hit Powerball, I'll be coming in just talking politics because I'll be done.
I'll sell the company.
It'll be bigger. It'll be bigger real estate deals that I'm doing and investing.
Love it. Real Estate Ray Boutin is joining us here on the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse, the Thursday, January 23rd edition of the Daily Pulse. We'll continue our discussion, but we're going to veer off into Ray's other passion besides real estate, and that's politics, news, information. He's not shy about sharing his opinions, and I'm going to get him to share them today. But first, I want to thank our Inside Lowell Daily Pulse sponsors. Real Estate Ray Boutin is one of those guys. You too can become a sponsor. By the way, email me, Teddy Panos at AOL, Teddy Panos at InsideLowell.com. Or if you want to do Ted Panos at AOL.com, knock yourself out. That email hasn't changed in, 120 years now, or whatever it is. But Ray is a licensed realtor in both Massachusetts and New Hampshire. He's a certified appraiser in both of those states as well. Find him online, realestaterayBoutin.com, or rewind this podcast a couple of minutes and you can hear him give that telephone number in his radio voice. Thank you as well to our friends at WellPoint. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point, and you'll notice from the signage, we're coming to you from the WellPoint studios. Washington Savings Bank, banking that feels like home. Make the switch now to Washington Savings Bank. TMI Properties, quality and value at every price point. Find your perfect space at TMI. And by the way, they have commercial properties available for rent as well. Mahoney Oil, providing warmth and protection to Greater Lowell and Southern New Hampshire since 1925. Boy, you've needed them these last few nights, haven't you? The Greater Lowell Community Foundation, the newest member of the Inside Lowell family, improving the quality of life in Greater Lowell through impactful, strategic philanthropy. Francis E. Preventure Insurance, the agency Greater Lowell has counted on since 1982, and by the Massachusetts Pirates, bringing all the hard-hitting action and excitement of arena football to the Mill City. March 21st is their 2025 season opener. All right, Ray, politics, your passion, your love. You served on the Greater Lowell School Committee. Unfortunately, life, kids, family, and a booming real estate business.
Not unfortunately. Not unfortunate.
But you follow it. So it's an election year, 2025 election year here in the city of Lowell. Just this morning, we posted a story on InsideLowell.com about the newest candidate to enter the fray, a gentleman named Sisto de Jesus. He's an assistant vice president at Enterprise Bank, organized his OCPF campaign committee with OCPF. Unknown, he played a little coy with me when I reached out to him. He said, we'll release more details going forward.
Wow.
Is he going to run as an at-large candidate? Or is he going to run in District 5, the South Lowell Back Central District that is currently served by Kim Scott? It's a pretty good name. It's a pretty big name. Up to this point, we've had, Belinda Duran, I apologize, who's declared in District 3, the Belvedere District. She's relatively well known in the district, but she's a first-time candidate. A gentleman by the name of Ricky Thatch, who back in October declared his run as an at-large candidate, though I'm being told by some he may be switching and deciding to run in the Acre District, the Paul Ratayem District 7, I believe that is. But Sisto de Jesus is well known. And if you've part of the banking community in Lowell, very visible. He's been the board chair of the CBA, Coalition for a Better Acre, since 2017. And if you've been to any events or whatever in the city because of his roles at Enterprise and the CBA, he's been a very visible presence. I don't know him personally well, but I see him, I recognize him, and he's out and about town. And if you go to the story on InsideLowell.com, you'll see the photo and you'll be like, hey, yeah, that's who he is. Is that an indication that we may start to see some more named candidates entering the race and making this a more interesting election than 2023, which, let's face it, was a freaking dud?
So Tippa, Tom Golden, our city manager, a friend of mine for years, told me one time, you either run unopposed or you run scared, which is kind of true. You just never know what life can throw at you. Will it be interesting? Maybe. I think the difficulty that I'm seeing and what I've seen in past elections, the city is on an amazing trajectory. And everybody's always, things are happening. We got a Hamilton Canal coming. We have Link coming in and we have the United Nations First community, which I think is bigger than Link. This will be. I don't think people have prepared for this yet, and it's kind of made me double think about selling my house and buying a 2-bedroom condo. That I think I'm going to stick around because
you're going to stick around Lowell, because that would also give you options to run for office again if you.
Yes, never say never.
Hey,
but
will you enter the fray?
probably
I
never.
keep hearing your name. People tell me Ray. Ray would be a great candidate, either city council or school committee. Is it?
Danny Rook is one of my best friends, and I'm now in his district. 4 or 6 years ago, when the new sausage district was made, my house, I was in Wayne Janessa's district,
District
and
4.
I got some pressure to run, and things were going so well with my real estate company, the appraisal company, my family. I dedicated 20 years to the baseball softball league, PYO baseball. I did 9 years on CDBG advisory committee, 7 on the school committee. Gave up a lot of time that now I could be working to, make up for that. And it's hard because you can't just do it half-ass. You got to be in, and getting pulled all different ways. I don't see myself right now doing it. A few years ago, I thought about state rep, and I kind of threw it out, and people had asked me, and it was a lot of momentum and probably more thought than any other office of doing that. But right now, I'm happy where I'm at.
So that itch is still there. You're still wanting to scratch
I like helping people. I mean, my job, I get paid well now for helping people.
But you're not going to challenge the mayor, Danny Rourke, in Pawtucketville?
Yeah, no, it's not happening.
Will you run at large?
We spoke the other day.
School committee?
No.
You're not a candidate in 2025?
I don't see that happening.
It would have been so much more fun if you played coy. Come on, think of the buzz we could have generated.
Yeah,
all the potential speculation.
Yeah, we could have. And
I would pay you to run just so I can annoy Mayor Dan Rourke.
I'll pay you to move back to Lowell. I'll find you a house. Okay.
I may run for a town meeting, a representative in Chelmsford. I was encouraged.
Oh yeah, I heard you and Joe Reddy on the podcast.
And then a member of the Board of Selectmen reached out to me and said, "I watched this. You should definitely do it."
Oh yeah.
I can annoy people here. I have a camera. I have a microphone. I can annoy people this way.
Step up, do it. You'll appreciate it. It was great being on the Greater Lowell School Committee. I enjoy the time there. Bringing the school in under budget, ahead of schedule. I heard you talking. Who was your podcast with talking about? It was Ryan Gilday talking about the Corey Robinson, talking about the things going on at the high school. And I know you've been bringing it up.
Ryan Gilday, Corey Robinson.
Yeah.
We have not released that interview yet to the general public. How did you see it?
I'm an insider.
Yeah.
I've got the inside track. I got the email yesterday.
You're part of the in crowd. You signed up for our e-blast list.
Nice and easy.
Simple.
And I get them ahead of time. And I got to tell you, the 4 days, 5 days a week on that treadmill, I don't love it, but it makes the time go by quicker. So I've been listening to every podcast the next morning.
All right. A little tease there besides the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse, which will be dropping at noon today, this episode. Later on this afternoon, we're going to drop the full episode, an exclusive interview for the first time since the incident in November of 2023 that shook up the city of Lowell and the political scene. City Councilor Corey Robinson breaks his silence regarding the incident and gives his take on what happened on that day and the fallout that resulted in both in the court of law and in the court of public opinion. He sat down right here in these studios with Ryan Gilday, one of our insiders. Again, if you're a member of our in crowd signing up for our e-blasts, you've already seen it. You've had an opportunity to see it. Everyone else, you got to wait a few more hours. I'm going to release Real Estate Ray Boutin's interview first. All right. Anything? So you're expecting, based on how well things are kind of progressing in Lowell right now, that it'll be a relatively uneventful year? Yeah. But I mean, I follow social media. There's potholes out there. There's roads that aren't plowed to people's
first time ever, right?
There's a jacked up tax rate that, we're no 0%, no 1 and 2%ers like we've been getting. We've had a significant increase in taxes, and people are not seeing the bang for their buck. That's what you'll hear on Facebook.
Yes, and the majority of people are seeing the bang for their buck. The majority of people are seeing what's happening with the city. The majority of people are going to see Link is coming in, and you've got almost $1 billion worth of money that's going to be spent to help the economy with high-paying jobs. We're not talking about a Chipotle opening up or a Whole Foods. Oh, have Whole Foods come in. Yeah, great. That sounds good. But if you're going to make Lowell a great community, you want those high-paying jobs coming in. The disposable income that the people from those jobs have to come in is going to help your economy. I use this example all the time, Somerville. So 30 plus years ago when I was working at 𝐈𝐧𝐬𝐢𝐝 in Cambridge. And we used to...
𝐈𝐧𝐬𝐢𝐝, a blast from the past.
Yeah, blast from the past. And Sunday night, we'd play street hockey over in Somerville, off the McGrath O'Brien Highway or whatever that thing is there. And one of the guys from the stockroom, like, hey, Noel, where do you live? I live in Somerville. He was embarrassed. I can't touch Somerville now. The price is here. Because they brought in industry, they bought in businesses, they revamped. Now you can't afford to rent. Sorry, Lowell, same thing's happening there. We already are struggling with people affording the low-level rentals. You start bringing in these other communities, it's going to enrich the community. The other thing that I don't like when people say is we need more affordable housing. We need more affordable housing. Think of all the people that had houses that are now selling those houses. They bought them for $27,000 and they're selling them for $527,000, $627,000. They're now able to use that money to buy a home down in Florida and maybe a small trailer up in New Hampshire or Maine. This is creating wealth for people. And obviously it's self-serving as a real estate agent to say buy a house. But it's generational wealth that you're going to have. You're not going to have to worry about your rent going up. Yes, your taxes go up, but everything has gone up. You know, you want to put a 100 amp or 200 amp service in 5-6 years ago, you could get it done for $1,800. Now, $5,000 or $6,000. Those costs are set, but my rent's not going up. And most likely, if you buy a house now, your interest rates will go down in a year or two. So, anyways, went off on a tangent, but things are back to what you said. Things are so good now, it's going to be different for a newcomer to come in and get elected. And if there's no openings, if all the current city council runs, they clean the slate. They all walk in. There's my prediction for the year.
No change. If all 11 incumbents win.
No change unless Steve Pangiotakis or Tom Golden decides to run in a district. Nothing is going to happen. It's not. They're doing a great job.
So even the most the one thought to be most at risk, Corey Belanger, District 3, you yes. Say he wins?
Yes, I do, because he's doing an amazing job. He's involved in what's happening there. And when you look at his past experience, not just on the city council, he's part of the drug task force. He's been on the zoning board of appeals. He's somebody that bleeds Lowell. He loves the city and he knows what's going on. He's involved. You know, when I was running the baseball league, the city councilors would come, they'd throw out the first pitch, or they'd be there for the parade. Corey's the one that pulls me aside. Ray, what do you need for the baseball league? What can I do to help you? The others are like, hey, anything you need, Ray? He would call me all year long. What do you need? He's that person. And people know that of him. So yeah, I still think he's going to win. It's going to be a fight. It'll probably be the closest one, but I think with his experience, his love, I mean, what decisions has he made that were wrong?
Mm-hmm. And there is an advantage to incumbency in a district race, because you've now started to, when somebody calls you about an issue, if you get it taken care of now, it's a huge...
For sure.
And I always thought that was going to be the drawback to the district system. It was going to make the incumbent even that much stronger. Because now you're not asking, just give me, I'm a challenger, just give me one of your 9 votes. All 9 of these people are, wonderful. Give me one of your votes and then figure out where to give your other 8. Or now it's like it's one-on-one. And if you've done the favors, because you've been on that school committee or in that city council seat for 2 years, 4 years, 10, 20 years, it's hard for me to knock that off.
But if you're doing a great job, I think there's more accountability with the districts. I think having a district rep, there's more accountability for those district reps. So they're doing a better job. Can't say the old counselors didn't do a good job, because most of them I really liked, but they need to step up. They need to respond. They can't say, oh, I'm 1 of 9, they'll call somebody else. They need to step up their game, which they have. And because they're doing a better job, it is going to be more difficult for a challenger to come in.
All right. Our buddy Marty Laurie predicted that depending on how the council election goes, and he thought there could be some turnover, that it could spell trouble for Tom Golden going forward. My prediction was I think he's more likely to be offered a contract extension based on Link, frontrunner city, and the continuity of that. I think it's more likely he gets offered a contract extension than he's, pushed aside, as we see typically after 4 years. For city managers.
Right. Marty, are you listening? I'll bet you a beer, $1, or a coffee There's no way Tom is leaving unless he wants to. And he's not going to say, I'm going to spend more time with my family. He's here. This is exciting times, what we're doing. He's done so much already. I mean, you want him at the forefront. I can't see him going anywhere. So I'll bet you he's not going anywhere. And I don't see the council changing. I don't.
Right.
So, and he's doing a great job. He's under pressure. I mean, let's be honest. Eric and Corey, I think, are probably his two biggest critics. And they're pushing him to do different things. They're bringing things to light.
They're holding his feet to the
so
fire.
it's not like
he's. By the way, this whole school facilities thing that I definitely want to get to with you as well. I'm suddenly now we've gone from we don't need a separate, we don't need a facilities department in the city, and we don't need separate people just for this massive complex called Lowell High School. Suddenly now the manager last week says it's probably a good idea to have 4 to 5 people in that seat. We got some issues to take care of. John Dakota sat there yesterday. City council said, I'm in favor of a facilities department. Now, he even said that he would be willing to privatize services if need be, if the unions held this up, which the manager and then Eric Gitcher at the other night city council meeting said, we've got some union issues to work out before we can enact some of these changes.
My dad was a union guy. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my dad's job, being a union guy, getting a good pay at Raytheon. So I think there needs to be protections, but there's got to be something. It's got to be can it be a win-win-win? Win for everybody, win for the city, win for the workers, and win for the students who ultimately, or 20 years from now, we could talk about moving Lowell High School over to Cawley again.
Please don't stop that. Let's just get a good building this time. Yeah. One that lasts more than 20 years.
It's interesting. I got asked this about the gym. It's a new building. Whether this was at Cawley or whether this is downtown, which it is downtown, obviously, it doesn't matter. It's you had Skanska at the council meeting. I kept saying, well, we notified them about this. We notified them about this. When we're building the Greater Lowell Tech, they not only notified us, but then they said, here's our plan to fix this. And we put a new roof on the building. And you can't comprehend what a commercial roof looks like. It's not like they just drape this big piece of rubber over the top and that's it. There's no water that gets in. There's staircases. There's HVAC systems. There's panels that open up. It's complex. So water is going to get in. But how are you fixing it? Don't just say, oh, yeah, we notified you of the lock that's not working. That's not the end of it. You're our owner's project manager. We don't need a clerk of the works. They are the clerk of the works. Fix it. Fix it. Get it done. Fix it right.
So some feedback. By the way, if you have any thoughts on our discussion today, please share them on our YouTube channel, share them on Facebook where we share this interview as well. Based on our discussion a couple of days ago, Kindling Dip comment. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing the name properly. Please send it to me phonetically and I'll be happy to get it right. Yep. It says, a lot of fair points brought up about school facilities and individual school maintenance plan. I have a bit of concern about what the maintenance plan is for all the new things at the high school.
We don't have a maintenance plan for the other schools, for the other city buildings. I mean, look what happened to, God, I'm drawing a blank, across the street from the city, they're tearing it down, the Smith Baker Center. So because they didn't have the money. And remember you were talking earlier, like 0% tax increase? That's great, no 0%. But then we let the roof fall and now it can't be saved. You need to spend $1 to save $3 right later on down the road. When did we stop doing the hot top, the spraying, sealing the cracks? So we saved $800,000. 5 years later, it's $8 million to repair the $800,000 you didn't pay. So you need this. If you're going to be a first-class city, you need to have this, that our new facilities, or again, you're going to be doing Lowell High School over again. So it just doesn't make sense. All
right. Lastly, before I let you go, let me give you one more chance to get into trouble.
Go ahead.
How you doing since Monday? Everything okay? You living in fear? You worried? You're
I went out to eat with my family with the feng shui,
which you usually do. So life went on.
Monday night's date night.
But there are people who are scared. There are people who are terrorized. Just yesterday, ICE, Tom Homan, Homeland Security Director, and ICE were in Boston rounded up, I believe, 100 illegal immigrants who they say are all criminal. They're all wanted. They're all on some list, vetted to be actual criminals, is what they say.
Violent criminals, let's say.
Violent,
because the argument is, if you came here illegally, you're a criminal.
Right. No, these are supposedly
violent criminals.
The worst of the worst.
Okay.
There was a city councilor, I believe, in Revere, who said, "We've got to stop this. We have to resist this." Immediately, everybody ran to the governor of Massachusetts, Maura Healey. And I believe her quote was that, "I'm not standing in their way."
Yeah. So can I say the quote?
And then she tried to, couch it to appease her left base, but also let it be known that don't arrest me, because they have threatened. Washington, D.C. has said anybody who stands in the way of a federal immigration action, which it is 100% in the United States laws and Constitution, that it is the purview, immigration is the purview of the federal government. They're gonna face jail time. Maura Healey, a prosecutor, an attorney general, very smartly changed her tune. Might be too strong of a word. I don't know, sang in a different key. Is that a fair way to say it?
Everybody's tough until you get punched in the face. Okay.
The Mike Tyson saying.
Yeah. So you're going to get arrested? Ooh, uh-oh. Sorry, I don't want to. Look, this is happening. It was told. It's no surprise. I've seen 60, 70, 80% of the country is for this. It's what you have to do. I mean, we have enough crime. We don't need to import the crime. So, and I'm offended by people that want to keep the illegal immigrants here, saying, well, who's going to clean your laundry? Who's going to clean your hotel rooms? Who's going to serve your food?
Wasn't that the argument they used for slavery?
That's exactly my point.
Who's going to pick the crops?
Who's going to pick this? So
right?
you want?
Wasn't that the argument
and
for
I've been
not getting
saying this for years. This is slave labor. I've talked about it when you and I were on the radio together. This is slave labor. If you're bringing these people in at the border, if you're going to give them one thing and only one thing, give them working papers. Let them pay taxes. Let them work, so that they're not working under the table and it's slave labor. It's absolutely awful to bring them in and not let them work. Like, why would you not do that?
I called it to somebody who we were having a discussion yesterday, the first intelligent decision around the migrant illegal immigration crisis that Governor Healey has made. Perhaps she was listening to one of our Inside Lowell Daily Pulses. Maybe she tuned in for our discussion with Diana DeZoglio and stumbled into one of the other ones. But
right.
I questioned, I said, why would she put up a fight? She's in a mess. She's in a budget mess. $1.2 billion last year. That number is only going to go up. And as you saw from her released budget, it's tight out there.
Yeah.
They spent too much money, and now the repercussions are about to start to manifest themselves. Sure. She doesn't have to be the one to deport anyone. She doesn't have to be the one to say no more coming in. Let the big orange-haired boogeyman in Washington, D.C. say, he's doing her a favor if he's starting to scare people out, or it's certainly the criminal element. Because if she went and arrested the criminal element, she's going to take some hits, right? Yeah. If he's doing it, if it's Tom Homan, it's the boogeyman. And I think she kind of took that tack. I'm not standing in their way. We're not encouraging it. We're not turning them in, but we're not standing in their way.
She doesn't want to get arrested.
It was a very smart play by Maura Healey, who's on the wrong end. She's underwater on this issue from a public opinion standpoint, and even here in Massachusetts. And I think maybe the Orange Man is doing her a favor. I doubt he'll get the thank you card, but he might be doing her a favor.
I think you've had people that have been here 20 years. If our government has allowed them to be here, maybe 50, pick a number, 15, 20, 25 years, at that point, you have a precedent. They're grandfathered in, so to speak. That's okay. But
if you're working, you're productive, and you're paying your own way.
But can they be? It's okay to come here. We're just not going to give you working papers.
Somehow they
Why would we do that? We're promoting slave labor. It absolutely pisses me off. That is the part.
Taking advantage of people.
Advantage of
The
people.
elitists taking advantage of people. They've got home health. They got home workers cleaning their house, home health care,
cutting your lawn, doing your roof, etc. Look, if you want them to be productive and you want them to help, why not give them working papers? Oh, we can't do that. Why not?
Give them
allow them to work,
teach them a craft,
so
teach
that
them
they
to be
can
plumbers,
work.
electricians, HVAC technicians.
But
that's what you need.
But you didn't. In the last, so that's somebody 20 years ago, and I know I'm going to piss off both sides. You know, the left's not going to like me, the right's not going to like it. But somebody in the last 4 years, they didn't check any of them. They were supposed to be swabbing them. They were supposed to be checking DNA. They were supposed to be documenting where they were from, and they didn't do that over the last 4 years. So those people over the last 4 years, you need to work to get them out, and it's just unacceptable. We can't support our current veterans. I mean, go to the VA. How long do you have to wait for an appointment at the VA? Because we don't have enough money. We don't have enough money for our school. I've got 2 teachers, and they spend $1,000 a year for school supplies because we don't have it in the budget. It just, you can't. And the other thing I'll say, my buddy showed me this thing about marbles or gumballs. And what you're doing by when you do take the top 1% from other countries, those countries will never be successful because you keep skimming that top 1%. And if that top 1% had to stay there for 10 years, now you got 10% of the top to say, we're going to make this country better. But if you keep pulling those people from those countries, those companies will never thrive like we do. And we could talk about the wind and solar and lithium and poisoning ecosystems if you want. Go ahead, get me going.
So we're going to cut you off there. I think I may have gotten you in enough trouble. I told you he's not afraid to be opinionated.
I am who I am.
But on tomorrow's Inside Lowell Daily Pulse, we're going to have Batch and the hyphen, Mike Baccigalupo, Michaela Hondas McCarthy.
Yeah.
We're going to go through the executive orders.
Can you ask Michaela,
thumbs up and thumbs down.
Is it okay to poison the water getting lithium batteries in other countries when we don't want to do it here? It's okay to stop drilling for oil here, but we'll go poison another country if it's so bad to do. We'll take their oil.
Don't get poor Michaela.
I love Michaela.
But
I love her.
She's at least in some point, she's singing a different tune.
Is she?
I like the 2024, 2025 hyphen.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, she was a little bit upset at how the RFK situation was taken care of by the Democrats and whatnot. Yeah, we were all three of us were big RFK.
He's interesting. Yeah.
Support. He's fascinating. If he can make us healthy again, great. We'll have them tomorrow. Marty Laurie will join us as well. Monday with Marty, we're going to call it.
Okay.
City Councilor Rita Mercier is going to join us next week. Jo Marie Buckley is coming back. Speaking of people
great. I loved
who don't bite their tongue. Holy smokes. I was kind of cringing
she's great.
for a minute there.
Yeah.
Lots more coming up on the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse. But Ray, one more time, folks are looking to buy or sell a home, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, or if they're looking to have their property appraised, how do they get in touch with you, sir?
Please give me a call. Ray Boutin. I'm at 978-502-8352. Ray Boutin, 978-502-8352. Or visit my website, realestaterayBoutin.com.
All right. Thank you for being a sponsor of the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse, giving me the resources to be able to take time away from my other gig to do this. Certainly appreciate that. Happy to have other people join you. I don't want you to be the only, sponsor of the
I'm happy to share.
We want a lot more. But thank you. Let's do this again in a few weeks. I got to fill 5 shows a week now. So.
Buddy, I'm in.
Nice.
I love it.
Go sell something. And Cody's Market, still on the market.
Still on the market. Cody's Market, pun intended.
Love it. Thank you to Ray. Thank you to you for joining us on this Thursday, January 23rd edition of the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse. Watch later today, after you watch this, watch later today the exclusive interview with Corey Robinson, breaking his silence on the incident that shook up the Lowell political world for 14 months. Only here on InsideLowell.com and our YouTube channel. Till tomorrow, everybody stay safe and stay warm out there, gang.